What's going on, guys? Welcome to TLG Reacts, the show where we react to things. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And a quick disclaimer that we will be discussing Star Wars stuff in this episode. Star Wars Celebration is happening right now, and a couple trailers have dropped, as you guys probably already know. I just want to say there's a lot of people on both sides of Star Wars fandom right now, as it seems to be divided. And I just want to say that if you like or dislike any Star Wars, you like or dislike any characters, you like or dislike any directors, anything in Star Wars, if you're very passionate about it, let's talk about it civilly in the comments, because I see on Twitter all the time people getting fights over the shit. If I say something about something I like or dislike and you're on the opposite spectrum of that, let's talk about it. So let's not get crazy, because I know people are very, very passionate about Star Wars. We all love Star Wars. With that being said, like I said, Star Wars Celebration is happening right now, and two things have came out from that I really want to react to. Now, full disclaimer, not disclaimer, transparency, I have seen both of these trailers. Have you seen Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order trailer? No. Have you seen the Episode 9 trailer?
No.
Okay, so this will be brand new for Chevy. This will be more so a discussionary thing for me. And yeah, anything you want to say before we go into watching these videos? How are you? Okay, so I'll just start off this way. How are you feeling about EA's had Star Wars as a brand, to be able to make video games with that. They've only made Battlefront and Battlefront 2 so far. What's your overall thought of that? And what do you think about us finally getting something else from Star Wars, from Respawn, single player game? Apparently no DLCs, or not DLCs, no microtransactions, none of the normal fucking EA shit.
I mean, I don't really have any strong opinions about the rate in which they've produced games. I mean, at the end of the day, that's between them and Disney. Mm-hmm. And I'm not necessarily, needing to have that. As long as there's something in the pipeline that, that is coming out, then, I mean, it's cool. At the end of the day, I just don't want it to be a good game. If it happens to be Star Wars, that's just kind of icing on the cake. Yeah. As far as the way they're handling this game, I think it's good. But I also know that, a while back, they kind of came out and said, what they thought about single-player games, and we all know how they handle microtransactions, stuff like that.
EA or Respawn?
EA.
Yeah.
Respawn, even with Apex Legends, has kind of shown that they don't necessarily share the same ideals as EA, and are just kind of making games. And it's probably within their contract to have creative freedom. So
it seems that way with them, because it seems like EA's not really touching what Respawn's been doing, it seems, because Titanfall's been exactly what they want it to be. Apex Legends, they, aside from some of the monetary stuff in it, it seems to be exactly what they want it to be. And this also, other EA games are following the EA, way of doing things, and this seems to be deviating. We're getting a single-player AAA Star Wars game with no microtransactions, no multiplayer, story-driven game.
Right.
From Respawn. So, yeah.
I mean, really, the only thing I can hope for in that regard is hopefully it has plenty of content, because at least personally, I feel like most Star Wars games that have come out in years, just in general, have been, for the most part, kind of disappointing for me. The Force Unleashed games, though there was some neat stuff in them, and they played fine, they were super short, and I don't feel like that they were worth the $60 price tag. So I'm kind of worried about that, is kind of my main focus. I don't want to spend $60 on a game I'm going to beat in like less than 10 hours. I mean, what I'd love to see is them kind of do something like God of War has done, where you have a big open, lots of things to do, but still a linear experience. That would be ideal, I think.
Yeah, because we need, first off, we need more Star Wars games, but we need good, solid, lore-expanding Star Wars games that aren't just like, shoot each other. I'm a stormtrooper, you're Luke Skywalker, let's kill each other. Like, I mean, that's fine, but people love Star Wars, so getting something that has some, something to bite onto, chew a bit, is important. So there was that open world one that got canned. Had the person, the chick from Naughty Dog, who worked on Uncharted 3, I think she was the creative director of it. She was working on it, and then they just scrapped that shit. So
I thought they also got rid of. I can't remember the team name now. They had another team working on a Star Wars game, and that got canceled as well.
Yeah, fucking Visceral.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the one.
So they've been really struggling with Star Wars. Seems like Star Wars has been making money, but struggling in a lot of places. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning real quick, this is not gameplay, but it is in-game cinematics. So
it's concept.
It looks to me, we'll watch it, but it looks to me like they're straight up the cutscenes out of the game.
Well, no, I meant like concept of gameplay. Concept's probably the wrong word. But
well, the reason I want to be clear about that is because people online are like saying like, oh, it's not gameplay, so it sucks. And people are like, oh, this is not what the game's going to look like. Well, you're kind of right, you're kind of wrong. Because if it's in-game engine, you're not seeing gameplay, so you're right about that. But if it's in-engine, that's probably what the game's going to look like graphically. Because they're saying that it's clips from in the game.
Huh.
So they don't. I mean, some of it looks like CGI, some of it looks like in-engine. So
okay.
So some people seemed to have gotten confused by that a little bit, but maybe I am. So yeah, you ready to watch this?
Yep.
All right. Jedi Fallen Order official story reveal trailer in 3, 2, 1, and go.
To survive. Don't stand out. Accept the past. Trust no one.
It's really dark and gritty, which is interesting. Reminds me kind of like Rogue One.
Galaxy's changed.
It's like a scrapper.
Kind of reminds me of how like Superman was pretending to be human and just doing like fucking oil rig shit. Wall running.
Accept the past. Execute Order 66.
Like that. That looks like it's in engine to me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of this stuff is out of context, so it seems like it's just straight taken from the game.
Trust only in the Force.
This year, which is cool to see. All right, so what do we think of the trailer? What do we think about the concept of essentially being a Jedi who escaped, you know, the purge of the Jedi, Order 66, and being in hiding while being hunted by whoever the fuck that is? Originally, one of the leaks said that Vader was after you, but that's obviously not Vader, but it seems like some kind of, you know, Jedi hunter, perhaps. Right. What do we think about the character? What do we think about the setting? What do we think in general? And the release of this year.
The release part is good to see.
Respawn's just fucking
kind of not
chucking shit out this year.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of surprised too, just because of the way he reacted at the Game Awards. It seemed like he was pretty confident. Not really talking about the game, but you could tell, like, you know, he was confident that they were working on a game that people were going to want to play, type of thing. And I think the concept of it seems pretty neat. Trailer didn't do a lot for me, to be honest. I have a hard time with those kind of trailers anyways, though. I always think they're fun, but it doesn't give me anything as someone who's trying to buy a video game.
Yeah.
So I have to wait and see a little more on it, but I'm hopeful for it. So
Yeah, I got a lot of things about this on my mind. First off, coming out this year is awesome. People have been clamoring for a Star Wars game for a while, single player one that's even, better. And we're getting it this year. Respawn, I'm a fan of them. If you don't follow the channel, I love Respawn and what they do, and his whole legacy. And seeing that they got, a Star Wars game that's actually this far along being shown, it's actually going to be completed, which is great, is awesome. This era in Star Wars has been explored. But there's a lot of angles to it that are worth checking out, and I really kind of like the idea of in hiding Jedi, ex-Padawan or whatever the fuck you would call them, being hunted. I think the setting is cool. So I'm really excited to play it, but we didn't see gameplay, so I don't know how it's going to look when you play it. I do kind of agree with you. The trailer didn't do much for me outside of just solidify the concept and story and setting for me, which I do appreciate, because right now I'll take anything I can fucking get. So seeing that, I'm like, okay, cool. That is the story. That is the setting. I don't know anything about the main character or anything like that, but I'm sold on that aspect. Now I need to see gameplay. But that's the thing, is this is coming out this year, so we'll be seeing gameplay pretty soon.
They'll probably be at E3. Well,
Probably.
no, they won't be at E3. They'll have their own thing during E3. But
Yeah. I would say don't get my hopes up. Fucking, I haven't talked about it yet, but I'm going to E3, so fucking it'd be very cool to be able to play that. But now you just ruined it. You just ruined it for me. But yeah, overall, everything about it looks really cool. I just would really like to see gameplay. This is also really interesting because this is Respawn's first time doing a single player only game. They did dabble with it in Titanfall 2, and it was really fucking cool. Remind me a lot of older Call of Duty, the way it was set up, which is a good thing. Because those are the ones he worked on, and had a cool story and all that stuff. So they're definitely capable of telling stories at Respawn. I know one of the guys who worked on KOTOR 2 is working on the story for this, so someone who has experience with that. Also, somebody I think that worked on the original God of War 3, like the director of God of War 3, he's working on this as well. So they actually have quite a bit of people with pedigrees working on this. So really hoping for something good out of this. But yeah, it does kind of suck that was just cinematics from in the game.
I mean, it's pretty much an announcement trailer.
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes though, so it's a pretty long announcement trailer.
No, for sure.
Gave a lot in concept.
Well, there's still things to take away from it. Obviously, it's just I'm going to use the term again because I can't think of any other way to put it. But it's just kind of like all the stuff you want to see as long as you have a good game. You know what I mean? So, and that's the part waiting for, is to see if it's the game itself is going to be like good or not, and worth the time for not just us but them as well. So
what kind of things would you like to see from the gameplay? Kind of like, obviously it's pretty easy to speculate that it'll be a third person action adventure game, but is there anything specific you would want from it?
I mean, not really.
It's been so long since I've played like a lightsaber wielding Star Wars game. The last ones I played were Force Unleashed, and I wasn't a big fan of those. But everything before that I really liked. Even that Obi-Wan game that came out for Xbox, where the right analog moved the lightsaber, which I actually kind of liked, but it was kind of weird. And then of course like Jedi Outcast and all the old ones that I fucking love. So it's been so long that what I'm really hoping for is a game that has openness to decide how you want to maybe make your character. Hopefully because I don't know how short this game's going to be. If it's just a story game, that'll be fine, but hopefully there's a little bit of depth to it. You kind of alluded to that earlier. We saw him run on a wall, so we know there's going to be traversal in a more expanded way than just running and jumping.
Right.
Probably get like some kind of force jump. But the biggest thing is I'm really hoping the lightsaber combat feels good, feels tight, and doesn't just feel like I'm mashing one button over and over again, because that would kind of take me back to the old days, which is fine. Nostalgia, I love it, but something new, something refreshing. If you can use laser pistols and shit, which I'm assuming you can. I don't know. I haven't fucking played the game, but I would like that, just as long as it feels really good and tight. But I really hope they nail storytelling and set pieces. I want them to really bring this world alive through this game. That trailer didn't really show me a whole lot of that. It was just real quick, close-up, intimate shots of him hiding, running, and that person putting their hand on a window, and him stopping a fan behind him. Nothing that really got me excited. Just kind of told me, yes, he has the Force.
Right.
He's gonna be doing Force shit. Now, the guy fell off. He's fucking gonna do some Force stuff, which is kind of interesting because he was a Padawan, went into hiding. The idea that he's gonna try and stop that person from falling with the Force, he had to be pretty powerful. So that's kind of weird to me. But we don't know what the fuck happens. So I don't want to nitpick too much.
Well, and how long was he a Padawan for? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. We don't know.
you go from Padawan to Master, essentially.
Yeah. Couldn't have been too old though. But yeah. Anyway, overall, I'm excited. I really hope EA, like even after release, they're not going to be adding weird shit like microtransactions, stuff like that. So really hope EA sticks to that. I'm specifying EA because Respawn I know is not going to want to do that shit. Yeah, we'll see more on this soon. Hopefully. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Do you have any apprehensions specifically with the game itself or, EA? Do you think Respawn's going to nail it? Do you think they're not going to? What kind of game do you want this to be? Is there any features you'd like to see? And let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Also, what kind of Star Wars game would you like to see be made? Because we're still kind of waiting on those properties to come out because EA's just been kind of holding it with Battlefront for years now. So let me know everything you think about when it comes to that. Next topic. Next video we're watching is Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. That is the title. We're going to get into our opinions on that and of the trailer afterwards. But before we get into this, what are your general thoughts going into this?
I don't really know if I have any.
Star Wars is in kind of a weird place. It's kind of a...
I don't know. So, for me, since Star Wars has been back, I've thought some of the movies were okay and some of them weren't. And that's pretty much it. I haven't loved any. I haven't necessarily hated any. I just kind of... they're here and they're just not they're not the same in any regard as it used to be.
They're the Disney movies.
And, that doesn't necessarily... They don't necessarily have to be the same. But at the same time... they haven't been exciting, which is kind of for me, obviously. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people like them or love them, and that's great. I'm glad you do. But, all I can really hope for is this going to be a good movie? Because I'd like to want to go see it, but it takes a lot for me to go to the theater these days. I mean, I don't even go see Marvel movies anymore, and I'll watch them at home and I like them still, but I'm just not in love with them anymore. And I think that's just a lot of movies in general. I think a big problem I'm running into is too many franchises, and they're just going. I'd love to see some more just like single piece, like no sequel, one and done movies. Some of my favorite movies recently, have been like, can't think of names right now. Deus Machina, the one with the
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. Yeah. Ex Machina was awesome. And then
Alex Garland's great.
There was another movie we watched at one point that was just one and done as well, and I really liked that. And I can't think of the name right now, but anyways, I'm kind of a weird place when it comes to movies. Who knows? I hope it's good. That's all I can say, really.
Well, I mean, not to get into a huge movie talk, but I'm a huge movie fan, and I've been my whole life fucking love movies, and we are in a weird place right now in movies where or cinema where we are putting out essentially Pepsi when it comes to movies. They now have the formula that you need this much action, this much comedy, this much drama, the perfect balance. The taste test has been done, and now they know the formula. And now every movie, no matter what the genre is, kind of follows that formula, and it really kind of sucks because I'm not seeing risks taken. I'm not seeing like real drama and new and interesting stories. We're pretty much getting a lot of not even just MCU or DCU, but even like in Star Wars and other properties, everything's trying to become, because the money or motive, everything's trying to be a shared universe.
Yeah.
Everything's trying to keep going, to keep making money. They already got you sold on this movie. They can keep making these and stick to the formula because you're going to keep paying for it. And there's nothing wrong with that, But it has dampened a lot of cinema for me because I just look at it, everything coming out. I'm like, okay. And in my opinion, Star Wars has really followed some of that momentum. So again, with you, like you were saying, there are, out of the new Disney Star Wars movies, ones I like, ones I think that are passable, and I, just to be transparent, don't like 8. So I will be very curious to see where this goes, because this is the last of a trilogy. They're going to be closing it out. We're going back to J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
From J.J. Abrams originally to Rian Johnson to J.J. Abrams. I really, just before we watch this, I really think they should have just let him do the whole trilogy, not because of anything against specific people, but I just, one single mind making the 3 movies, their story being told,
It's consistent.
No inconsistencies, all that kind of shit. It would have been fine. Give somebody else the trilogy later or whatever the fuck. It was a cool experiment, but I don't think it's been working out great. And I think the division in the fan base has absolutely proven that. And the lack of toy sales, they're down like millions of dollars because there's characters that people just will not fucking buy. They don't give a fuck about them. It's crazy. Toy sales are so low for Star Wars. It's crazy right now. But anyway, so I'm kind of in a weird place when it comes to Star Wars because I'm a huge fan. Even the prequels. I like the prequels enough. There's a lot of things that are bad about them, but there's also a lot of good lore and story told there. And we got the Old Republic from that and all sorts of shit. So, I'm really hoping J.J. Abrams can do something with this to, at the very least, fucking get the community back together and stop bitching at each other. Because people at this point are just playing teams right now and trying to score points and shit. And it's
everything else.
It's a really shitty atmosphere because if you like something or don't like something, that's fine. Just discuss it. But when people start trying to make up why you don't like or like something, we're not having conversations anymore. We have people trying to frame people up to beat them, and they're fucking movies. Yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to tiptoe around this topic because I fucking run into it all the time on Twitter and shit. But I've seen this. You haven't, and we're gonna watch it. And we'll talk about what we saw.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, and go. It's funny though, even in the cinematography, you can tell it's fucking J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
1,000 generations live in you now. But this is your fight.
Love the music. Lando.
We'll always be with you. No one's ever really gone.
All right. What do we think? And what do you think? First off, what do you think of the name?
I mean, different. I don't know what it's supposed to mean. So
Skywalker Rising.
yeah.
That can mean a lot of things for sure.
Yeah, it's vague. So
Well, Kathleen Kennedy was saying that was the point. She said she didn't want to mean anything. They revealed a lot of stuff that I think they really shouldn't have. But she was just like, always want something that didn't mean anything, and you read it and you go, oh, okay. So I was like, okay.
I mean, that's how I feel. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, you did it, so
yeah. I mean, if it has a meaning, and we find out during the movie, cool. Yeah, I don't know, because it doesn't really speak to me in any way. So
yeah, the all the titles in the Disney Star Wars movies I have not been a big fan of, just because, and there could be a case made for the older ones as well, but like, I actually thought the Phantom Menace was a cool fucking name for a movie. Revenge of the Sith was originally supposed to be a title that he was going to put in, one of the original three, and fucking he didn't use it, so he used it, and I thought that one was cool. Return of the Jedi, I fucking love that. Empire Strikes Back, love it. All those I have to love, but yeah, The Force Awakens was kind of like, for me, like almost like branding, like, oh, the Force is back, guys.
Yeah,
and we're just like, Star Wars is back, and then The Last Jedi, yeah, whatever. And then this, it's so ambiguous and it's so wonky that I'm not the hugest fan of it. But there was some leaks that came out before that were like really fucking bad. So if out of all those, this one is the title, I can't complain because they were pretty fucking bad.
Huh.
Nothing else.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's fine, but could have been better. But it's kind of a weird one too for the last of a trilogy. But yeah. So trailer, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, you kind of said right off the bat, the visual style was definitely J.J. Abrams, and I mean, I noticed through the whole trailer that it felt like 2 movies ago again.
Yeah, everybody's been saying this. I agree with it. This looks like what 8 should have been.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Well,
and
it feels, I agree with it. It feels more thematically in tune.
Yeah,
but
100%.
It makes sense. The same brain, right, is there. So, it's just, and I think it's the same with most things. If you're writing a book series and you have a different author for every book, you're going to end up with
totally. It's going to feel different each time.
And along the way, it's going to be harder and harder for everyone who's invested in it to agree. So, this is the same thing. I think. Started with one tone, went to another tone, and then it's going to go back to that first tone.
Well, and that's the thing too. And I'm going to step aside from the, elephant in the room, but like, whether you like or dislike 8, tonally in every way, it feels completely different,
right,
than these 2 movies. So it is. I really wish that he could have just made the whole trilogy.
Yeah,
just for consistency, at the very least.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, it was neat to see like the little bit of teases we got, but it was a lot of like just like stills on people's faces through most of it. So I mean, they didn't really show anything. They showed some, obviously. Like we got to see her right in the beginning, flip over the ship.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what did you think of that?
I mean, it's nice to see some Force stuff actually happening, because that was kind of, there was some in the last 2 movies, but it seemed so vacant. And not that it has to be crazy hyper about it either, but it seemed really weird that a series about, the Force barely has the Force. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so that beginning scene, whoever's flying that, we can speculate it's Kylo Ren or something, but we don't know the scenario, but I think it's odd that they're flying down low to hit them or whatever, and then she's gonna flip and attack the thing with her lightsaber. It's a really weird scenario to me. The Force jump doesn't bother me because I know some people are kind of pissed about it. I actually don't. I don't care. But the flip and the slow mo kind of takes me out of how Star Wars is typically filmed. So it's just something I have to get used to. I'm not necessarily saying it's good or bad. I just think it's kind of interesting. But I do welcome seeing some kind of larger than life thing happen.
Yeah.
Because we're not seeing that in the Disney Star Wars movies. And yeah, so it is a welcome thing. Yeah. Anything else with that beginning part? No. What'd you think about potentially the ruins of the Death Star?
No idea.
No?
No.
Nothing?
I mean, I honestly, I don't have a whole lot of like deep thoughts about pretty much anything that was in the trailer. Like it was, and maybe it's just because I'm not like excited to see this movie. You know, I want to see it, but I'm not like head over heels on it. So, I mean, until I see it and I see the story and I see the way it all connects together, I mean, what I saw essentially was advertisement for a new Star Wars movie. And the same way with the gameplay, the game one earlier, I don't feel like they really showed me enough to get me excited as much as just tell me it's coming.
Yeah, except for that trailer showed a lot. So I'll just jump in. So
Okay.
First off, I'm gonna start with Palpatine. I don't like if they're bringing him back at all. If he's a Force ghost, which kind of breaks the kind of soft rules they made for if you're dark side, you don't get a Force ghost. But I don't care about that. If he comes back as a Force ghost within those ruins, that'd be cool. I'm okay with that if it's like a quick visit, kind of like a nostalgic thing. But if he comes back, like in general, it completely deflates the original trilogy or the whole fucking Anakin story in general, because the whole thing, Anakin fucking brings balance back to the Force by defeating fucking Palpatine through the catalyst that is his son Luke. There's so much meaning at the end of fucking Return of the Jedi that it gets thrown out the fucking window by bringing Palpatine back. That's set and done. We saw Palpatine's whole fucking life pretty much get to power, be in power, and then get defeated. And with the last movie going, forget the past, fucking kill it, blah, 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 we sure as fuck are going right back to the past real fast. Now, I understand this is like fucking damage control. This is going like, okay, we got people who are upset about this movie, last one, people who like it. Let's give them all something that they all can kind of enjoy. Everybody likes Palpatine. Everybody likes the older movies, so it makes sense. But at the same time, they got to be really careful with the way they do this, because this is going to piss off a lot of people. Big surprise, me included. I wouldn't be fucking stoked if he was back unless they did it in some kind of interesting way. But also kind of like devalue Snoke. They're gonna have to fucking find some way to connect the two. Or there's so many things that happened in 8 that they're gonna have to course correct for with that. So Palpatine, I'm not super stoked on. An interesting choice for sure, but I don't think it was a wise one. I would have liked to see something else, but whatever. Seeing the Death Star again, if that was indeed that, everybody's very sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is too, but I don't know for sure. Is really fucking cool, because that was something that happened. Seeing that on a planet like that, seeing that aftermath, really fucking neat. Seeing Lando again is awesome. Seeing Lando with Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon is fucking awesome. Chewbacca got so fucking ousted in 8. He barely existed in that movie. So to see him doing anything at all, especially with Lando, we haven't seen a whole lot of the OG cast together in the last 2 movies, which I think is a fucking travesty. We had a time where we could have had, Luke and Han and Leia at some point fucking have some kind of reunion that everybody would have fucking loved so much, and it didn't happen. So I mean, this is the closest thing we're fucking getting to that. So that's awesome for me. I also love that it looks like we're gonna be seeing an adventure again. There's all these scenes where they're out in the desert and there's like flying fucking kind of like those the fucking speeder bikes from Endor, but they're like flying and shit. Looked like some kind of chase scene. They're on some kind of like train thing. Looked really fucking cool. Everybody's dressed different, which I know sounds kind of weird, but I got kind of used to how, well, except for Rey, she was dressed the exact same again, but like everybody else is looking different. So we're actually getting some kind of visual representation of progression in the story, which is nice, because I don't feel like we got that in 8. It just feels like it's moving forward. Yeah, aside from the beginning though, which was kind of like, I think I need context for the beginning. That jump thing with the lightsaber, I don't know what to feel about it, because it's just so out of context. It doesn't do anything for me. She's jumping, she's swinging the lights or whatever. And for a lot of people, they're hearing like the loud music build and a cool action scene, and it's probably exciting. But for me, I'm like, I feel that. I'm like, oh shit. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what the stakes are. I don't know what the fuck's happening here. But But yeah, I am glad to see J.J. Abrams behind this movie again, just because at the very least, The Force Awakens was a fun movie. It was an entertaining movie. I enjoyed it. And I feel like he's going to make a fun, entertaining movie at the very least with this, and probably be a little less divisive. But The Emperor is a bold decision to go back on, especially with the last movie really deciding to stray away from everything and try to move away from the old and go into something new. And now we are completely avoiding that.
But I mean, they could also just be using it in the trailer, obviously, as like an advertisement piece, and then in the movie, it's just like a fucking flashback when she walks into the busted down Death Star or something.
What?
His laugh.
No, they literally said at Star Wars Celebration that Palpatine will be in it. They announced it,
but
which is
like
ridiculous.
In what context? Is it like during the present, or is she gonna have a glimpse of the past? Is what I'm kind of.
Oh, I don't know,
but
but they made a bigger deal about it. I guarantee he won't just be a little glimpse thing, because they had the actor there and everything. The guy who plays Palpatine, which is cool. That guy's fucking awesome. But yeah, and that's not the only past thing too. This movie's completely rejecting a lot of the shit that Rian Johnson set up. So for instance, he was like, fuck the lightsaber. Not just even in that scene, but just in general. There's a rejection of the old style of Jedi and all that shit. He wanted to get rid of that shit. We see in that fucking trailer, she's got the lightsaber back. Yeah. That's J.J. Abrams going, no, I wanted that. We're bringing it back.
Yeah.
It's course correcting. Just like the fucking Kylo Ren mask. Rebuilding it. Nope, that's coming back.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, and even J.J. Abrams recently came out in an interview saying that Rian Johnson never even fucking talked to him about the movie. He already had a story written when he started working on this thing. So there was a lot of they were not communicating very well when it came to that. So it seems like J.J. Abrams is kind of trying to, he obviously had ideas where he's going after 7, and he's going to be able to put as much back in as he can to make it work. And it looks like that's what we're seeing there. It's just conflicting because, like I said, 8 really tried to say we're going this way now, and now J.J. Abrams is like, no, we're going back this way. And so the Star Wars fan in me is really excited for this, just because the music's great, the visuals are great. Seeing Leia, even though I don't know how they're going to do that with Carrie Fisher passing, and Rey together was really cool. What'd you think about BB-8's buddy?
I don't remember what he looked like, to be honest.
He's like a singular wheel with a fucking little like robot body on top. There's a part where BB-8 like leans over and he leans with him.
Well, I remember seeing 2 robots.
Yeah, it's like C-3PO and fucking R2-D2.
I'd have to see it again apparently, because I saw BB-8, but I didn't see who was sitting next to him. So
yeah, I think he's cool. I think he's within. I mean, he fits. So
well, it
kind of reminds me of
Star Wars in general has a lot of droids, which is cool. So the fact that they want to keep making more
OG Star Wars did, yeah. But so finally somebody's trying to fucking add to that, because in was it 8 or 7? They had the BB-8 fucking droid, and then they had BB-8 droid that they painted black and put a little Empire thing on top, and I was like, that's it. That's how fucking different they get. But I was gonna say something else. I forgot. Yeah. Anyway, this just looks like it's gonna be a bigger and bolder adventure. Something that I think a lot of Star Wars fans really want in their Star Wars. Also, good stories and relations between the characters, which is the last thing I'm really excited to see. Was everybody all together in multiple scenes that did not exist really in prior or in 8. So it's cool to see that we are getting things back together in looks like a bigger story with more going on in it. I don't know obviously what's going to happen with this, but specifically with the fucking Palpatine stuff. But yeah, I'm actually interested in this. So I just feel conflicted because of the different direction Star Wars has gone and the attempted course correction. I don't know what's going to happen or if they can really finish this off in this movie. This is the last of this trilogy. So there's a lot to be done in this one movie. And it really kind of freaks me out. I'm trying to think of what they'll do with that. So, anything else?
I mean, not really. I kind of just have to wait for the movie to come out. I still haven't even seen the last one they did. What was that, Solo? Which I heard was fun. I'm really behind when it comes to this kind of stuff at this point. I have time doing hobbies. So hopefully, I could find the drive to go see this and then have a solid opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Let us know in the comments what you think about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. What do you think about the name? What do you think about what we saw in the trailer? What do you think is going to happen in this movie? How do you feel about Palpatine? What do you think about where Star Wars is going? Do you think they're going to be able to nail this as the last movie in a trilogy? Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Star Wars Episode 9, Jedi Fallen Order, and Star Wars Celebration in general. And that's going to do it for this episode of TLG Reacts. As always, thank you for watching. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Until next episode, which will be Tasty Cast or Tasty Tuesday. This weekend's kind of weird for me. But until then, have a good weekend, guys, and take it easy.